Hello everyone, welcome to CareerDeed Training Solutions. This is Janani and this session is all about one of the most important factors that any candidate should keep in mind while preparing for an interview. Yes, this is all about resume creating. Well, it's not just resume writing because writing involves a lot of stereotypic factors to be followed, the same procedures that are followed, or sometimes even you copy the old hidden formats, right? So it's not just writing, but what we are going to look for here is an absolute way of creating a professional resume. Well, before I get into the session, I'd like to clarify something. Have you heard me pronouncing it as resume? If so, it is absolutely wrong. It is actually resume. Resume means a progress of a work, whereas the one that we look for now is pronounced as resume. Got it? So, with this note, let's first find out what kind of person are you? Are you looking for a brochure like thing that can market your skills? Or are you looking for something that can impress your interviewer without just uttering a word? Or very simply, if you can put in a way that you look for a way where you can brand yourself in the professional market? Yeah, if you belong to any of these categories, then this session and the forthcoming sessions are quite important for you. Yes, so what according to an interviewer is a resume? Now, this is very important. Knowing what a resume is in an interviewer's perspective is becoming quite important, and it is also smarter to crack any interviewer, to impress any interviewer, right? So to know this first, what is a resume according to you? You can take some time and think about it, what is a resume, what according to you is a resume, and then come back and just check if your thoughts and the actual thoughts are getting mapped. In that way, if your answer is any of these, that is, it is something that holds all educational information, talks about your family background, your ambition, goals, lifestyle, habits, and all that, yeah, all these are included in a resume. But all these is just a content of a resume, the contents that a resume should be having. So if you say this is what define a resume, then I'm sorry, it's absolutely wrong. But what is it actually? It is a portrait of your own self with sufficient evidences. This word is quite important. You have to have sufficient evidences to prove what you have quoted in a resume. For example, let's say you've got some 85% in your SSLC and you have mentioned it as 88%, then there is where your genuinity is under check, right? So be very sure what all you mention in your resume have sufficient evidences, either in forms of certificates or in any other forms that can be accepted by an interviewer, right? So this is one basic definition of resume, or in other words, I can even call that to be a snapshot of your skills that will benefit a lot of market people. Yeah, there are lot of market people who keep looking for perfect candidates to fit into a particular position. If you want to be one of them, you have to meet certain requirements that are expected by those market people. And to meet those requirements, you need to have certain skill sets, right? So your resume is something that captures all your skills in forms of letters and words and portrays it in front of an interviewer or a person who's looking for a person like you, right? So, or very generally or very simply, I can even call my resume to be just an application for not having just a job but a career. Now, what is the difference between a job and a career? A job is something that is, that will make you feel happy with what you earn, but a career is something that will make you feel contented with what you do at your office, with what you deliver at your office. So make sure you have got a career but not a job, right? So with this note, let's find out what does an interviewer look for in a resume. The first and the foremost thing that any interviewer will look for in in a resume is the skill sets that you work. Now, as I mentioned you earlier, any person who is looking for a candidate, for an employee, will look for certain skills that are expected to be owned by a personnel, right? Your skill sets differ with the job profiles that you are into, right? So make sure you mention the skill sets that is apt for you to get into that particular position, right? So this is the first thing that any interviewer will look. And the second thing is, of course, your academic performance or academic profile, where you mention about your percentage that you've scored in your schooling and in your degrees or any additional courses that you've done, right? So this academic profile is of course important because they look for the ups, downs, or they very importantly look for whether you've got any break in between your entire course or something like that, right? And then comes the most important thing, it is your projects. This is really important because see, whatever field you belong to, maybe engineering, maybe arts, maybe teaching, whatever field you belong to, the projects that you have done will be the only factor that defines how excel are you in that particular field, right? To excel in a particular field, you have to do a lot of experiments, and experiments, technically we call that to be project, right? So project defines your technical skill, in fact, which in addition to that will also give you some opportunities like jobs or internships, which will be added advantage for you while attending an interview. Now, just are these four things that any interviewer will look for? No. Here you have a very important thing, and that is what you call as a presentation. Now, a presentation is very, very important because if you have all the details very clearly mentioned in a cliche form of resume, in a very old style, see, you are not the only person who is attending an interview, right? There'll be a lot of people, maybe hundreds or 500s or whatever number is. There'll be a lot of people approaching the same interviewer, for which you have to stand out of the crowd. And one good technique is that you have a very different presentation of resume, right? Now, resume can be a 1 page or a 2 page or whatever it is, but it should be impressive, right? So are you up for knowing, preparing how to present a resume? We're not going to present a resume, we are just going to prepare ourselves to present a resume. Are you up for this? If so, stay home, stay connected with us until we give you how to prepare presenting a resume, right? Thank you for watching. Stay connected with CareerDeed Training Solutions.